Alright, hi everybody, we are back because I decided let's do another check-in. Because I can imagine that there's some struggles along the way. Because we all have them. I had a lot of obstacles, I had a lot of ups and downs, and in those moments it was always good to have some tips and somebody to check in with you. So that's what I want to do for you right now. And this time I want to talk to you about a topic that I think a lot of us kind of try to wrap our head around, because we're trying to introduce something new into our schedule, right? A new habit. And how can we build this new habit? So that's what I want to dive into today, and I prepared 6 different things that I was thinking what helped me actually to build a new habit, and what still helps me, because I always add new habits into my day as well. So let's start with the most important one, in my opinion, that I bring up in, I think, basically every tip session. And that is having a strong why. I think you've maybe remember from other videos, but having a why is at the core of why we are doing this new habit. And so reminding ourselves, why is this habit actually important to me? So let's just say the habit is going to the gym 3 times per week, right? Just so that we have an example. And now we can ask ourselves, well, why is that important to me? And the answer can maybe be, well, because then I get more into shape. And then we can ask ourselves, well, why is getting into shape important for me? And so we dig deeper and deeper, and at some stage find what really hypes us up. And again, this is really important, because this is the juice. It's like the fuel. Your motor or your car also wouldn't run if it doesn't have any fuel. And your why is the same thing. Your why is what keeps you going even when you don't feel like it, or when you don't have a routine in place yet. So step number 1, remember your why. Always remember your why. And then the second thing is to actually look at, what is that new habit that I want to build, and how am I going to build it? Because oftentimes we want to dive into the deep end immediately. And this could look something like, okay, I want to go to the gym. So now my new habit is to go to the gym 7 days a week. And you will see very soon, and even now talking it out, you will probably think, okay, for how long am I going to do this? Probably not so long, because A, this is super new, and B, you also have another life, right? Or you have other things in your life that also need to be taken care of. So for me, I always rather go with starting small and then going big from there. So we start with something that we can maintain, because this is so important in the beginning, especially when we want to build a new habit. It needs to be something that we can maintain for a long time, so that it actually becomes our second nature. And then of course also something that's sustainable, because if we, let's go back to our example, if we only focus on, okay, 7 days a week, that's my new habit, and then we don't do that 1 week, 2 weeks, we already feel we're letting ourselves down, and this creates negative emotions. And once we feel a bit bad about ourselves, it's so easy to get off track, and then suddenly you don't go to the gym anymore at all. And then of course you're beating yourself up about that. So it just creates this negative cycle. But instead, if you start building something that you can actually maintain in the beginning, and then you can build up from there. So let's say you start with 3 times a week, or maybe it's just 2 times because you have a very busy schedule, and that's totally okay. But if you have done that for a few weeks in a row, then you already have some feeling of success. And then you can build up from there. So maybe you feel, actually I would like to go 3 times because I think it would give me more return. And now you can see, how can I make it 3 times? And then maybe at some stage you make it 4 times. But really go step by step. Of course, there's very few people that can just dive in the deep end and it works well for them. And if you're one of those people, then please go with that. But I know the majority of people, it's better to have a step-by-step approach. So highly recommend that. And now ask yourself, what can you start with? What's a habit that you can maintain? And again, really look at something that's feasible for your lifestyle, because everybody has a different lifestyle as well. You know, I don't have kids, but you might have kids, and I can only imagine how different your daily routine is like when you have kids and when you have to take care of another human being. So again, really look at what works for you. Then another way to, or another step to build the habit is to connecting it to something that you can easily remember. So I think a lot of people always bring that thing with the brushing your teeth. So when you build a new habit, you can tie it to brushing your teeth because you do this every day, right? But maybe with going to the gym, that's not so feasible. Only if like you want to brush your teeth before going to the gym. But anyway, look for something that you already do on a regular basis or that you can easily remember so that you can tie it to that. So I don't know, maybe it's packing your lunch boxes for your kids, and then at the same time you also pack your bag for the gym. Something like that. Again, really look at your own day and the habits that you already have in place and things that you can easily remember, so that we want to make it as easy as possible to get into our new habit. Then another way, and kind of ties into that, is to set an alarm. So we talked already about scheduling in a certain gym session so that it's fixed in our day. And of course we can also set an alarm. So let's say our new habit is to go to the gym on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And we can set ourselves an alarm on those days, maybe an hour before, so that we are reminded, oh yeah, today I have this plan. And if it's with some smaller habits like, I don't know, walking or getting some fresh air or something like that, you can put that into your phone, your calendar, and just get an alarm so that you're reminded, yes, that's what I wanted to do. And you don't have to now put more energy into trying to remember. Instead, there's something else that's automatic and it reminds you. So also very, very helpful. I've used this a lot of times during my journey, and I still use it for today because it really helps me to just stay on track and keep things on my mind. Then another thing that is very important for habits, but also just in general, and that's celebrating yourself. You know, oftentimes we think that we have to achieve something really, really big in order to celebrate ourselves, and other things are not really worthy of our celebration. And I think that's what trips us up so much, because we never really feel successful if we don't celebrate ourselves. And if you only wait for this very big thing, which can already feel overwhelming, and we don't reach that, we just always feel that we've let ourselves down. But instead, if we celebrate each time that we've implemented this new habit, each time we've gone to the gym or whichever your habit is, then we feel so much more excited to do it again. Because, you know, when you give yourself a high five or just tell yourself like, wow, this was awesome, I actually did it. And so your body and your mind get the stimulus that you just done something cool, now I want to replicate that. And again, it's super important because we already talk so negatively to ourselves. So instead we can flip that and make it more positive by really celebrating each little step that we've taken. And then the sixth point that I want to bring up is, it's actually a bit tied to the other point that I just mentioned. And that is looking for success stories in our own life. I brought this up in another video, but you know, oftentimes we don't really think that we are already successful. But everybody has habits in their life that they do on a regular basis, and they have established this habit. And now the only thing that we need to do is look at those habits and analyze what's making those successful and consistent. and then transferring it to this new habit that we want to build. So the reason I bring this up, and a lot of people don't think about that, is because a lot of people have built habits that they are not so happy with, because it doesn't move them towards the person they want to be or the life that they want to have. So just a few examples, some people smoke on a daily basis. That is definitely a habit. It's also an addiction, but it's also a habit. And yes, people might not think like, oh, I'm successful with this, because it's not something that moves you towards the person that you might want to be. But when we just look at having a habit in our life, yes, we've been successful. So we can also look at what is making that successful. And this is really valuable, because it's giving us information how we can build habits in our life, and something that's unique to us, what works for us. So we can look at, well, which feeling does it provide me? What are the circumstances that I do this habit in? What do I need for this habit to take place? And now we can see with these factors, how can I transfer that to my new habit? Maybe what feeling do I need to generate with it? What needs to be in place to make this successful? And I think I mentioned that before, so I can just give an example. I've already been successful with building a fitness routine and the habit to go to the gym, right? But I haven't really been successful yet with establishing a habit to stretch every day. And this is something that I've been wanting to do. I think it's very essential for me. And basically all the things are in place, but I still don't do it. So I can look at, well, what am I doing for the fitness habit that I can transfer to the stretching habit? Maybe, I think I mentioned that before, the identity part. I'm tying the fitness habit to an identity. Maybe I can expand that identity to bring it to stretching as well, so that I feel I need to stretch, so that I'm in line with the identity that I'm creating. And this is just one example, but again, everybody has these success stories. Everybody has established habits in their life, and there's no judgment in them. It's just about, what have I done to make this habit successful and consistent, and how can I use this for building another habit that maybe brings me closer towards the person I now want to be. So that's my 6 points, my 6 tips. And of course, always, when you have a question, when you have a challenge, message in our Telegram group, and even message me privately, so that we can figure this out together. Of course, I always prefer the Telegram group, because I know that there's other women who face exactly the same struggle, or maybe just a little bit different, but they can really benefit from my answer to you as well. So if you post it in the Telegram group, you actually help other women to overcome their own struggles as well, because they're probably very similar to you. And it also gives you the opportunity to connect to other women over a shared challenge, and you can figure it out together. So that also brings a lot more fun into this. So with that being said, just whatever it is, just bring it to the Telegram group. And I'm always here to help you, to support you, to guide you. That's what I'm here for, and that's what I love doing. So with that being said, I wish you an amazing workout session, an amazing week, and see you very soon. And as always, be powerful.